All right, so the section of the book that's called War is Peace, Chapter 3, contains a lot of interesting philosophies, right? A lot of interesting political ideas that Orwell pointed out. So let me zip through this real quick. You're going to have a quiz over this material. Make sure that you have access to these slideshows. He begins reading this particular chapter, and what he learns is that the superstates are in a state of war, right? Red, green, yellow, in a constant state of war. But the strange thing is that none of them are able to defeat one another. They have no reason to fight, and they're not divided by genuine ideological differences, which just means they think differently. They have different points of view. Instead, it's the reason why they're at war is much more nefarious. They're trying to use up the surplus of all their goods instead of giving them to the people. Okay, that's the gist of it. They would rather build an aircraft carrier, spend all the time, manpower, energy, resources to build that, put it out at sea, and sink it to the bottom of the ocean than to take the money that could have been used and give that to the people. The countries are too evenly matched in their natural defenses, make it impossible for them to destroy each other. So the reason for these constant wars, like I said, is way more, it's a lot deeper. He says that if the machine was used deliberately to end hunger, overwork, dirt, illiteracy, they could do that in a few generations. And when he refers to the machine, he's referring to like industry and factories. If they used it, to make goods or iPads or something like that, they could end all those problems. The book, Goldstein's book, The Theory and Practice of Oligarchical Collectivism, says if leisure and security were enjoyed by all alike, the great masses of people who are normally stupefied by poverty would become literate and learn to think for themselves, right? So we in America have leisure time galore. And how do we use it? Are we using that in a proper way? I mean, nowadays one would be able to put up a good argument against it. But if you're constantly in a state of survival, you're definitely not worried about reading your next book. He says in the book, being at war and therefore in danger, being in any kind of danger, makes the handing over of all power to a small caste, which is a group, seem like the natural, unavoidable condition of survival. Right? Where have we seen this? Well, most recently, we can make parallels with COVID-19 and everything. After 9/11, there was this big push where a lot of our rights were given up in the name of freedom. We gave up our rights. The Patriot Act is what it was called. And because we were in a sense of we were being attacked by this shadowy enemy, and we need to give whatever was necessary over to the powers that be to keep us safe. But once you give up your freedoms, you're not going to get them back. And then this question about, what's more important to you, personal freedoms or security. We also learned that the citizens have no contact with foreigners because they would realize that they are all similar and have been told lies. Right? So that's why they're very isolated. And they would not only learn that they were told lies, they would learn that, hey, these people that we were being told are bad people, and these foreigners are actually just like us and want the same things that we do. But we have to cast them as these foreign enemies and not let them be seen by the general masses. There's an article here about the military budget. I'm going to skip over this for the sake of keeping this relatively short. But what it brings up is long-standing facts about our expenditures when it comes to the military. This is quite old now, but we spent 46.5% of all the money in the world spent on the military. We spent nearly half of it. And then the next countries in line, China, United Kingdom, we can see in this chart were much different. And it raises the question, is that, and that's one for you to answer, whether you're okay with this or not. There's a strange, well, an ironic quote in the book that says that the plan of Oceania and all the countries is to acquire a ring of bases completely encircling an enemy state, lull them to sleep before attacking them simultaneously. In this image here, all these stars are U.S. military bases in the Middle East. This blue thing is in, it's not water, it's the country of Iran. And completely encircling, we have ourselves established military bases. Orwell would be, I don't know what he would be feeling. But in the end, the three states are fighting all the time for this reason. They're creating artificial scarcity, which means shortage, through war to keep the masses on the brink of hardship. Okay. Always keep them wondering where, their next meal is going to come from and whether they're safe. It stops them from thinking any deeper on any important issues. He says that war is a way of shattering to pieces or pouring into the stratosphere or sinking into the depths of the sea materials which might otherwise be used to make the masses too comfortable and hence, in the long run, too intelligent. We learn ultimately that the real war is being waged by the masses against the masses by their own government, the oligarchy. Remember, oligarchy is ruled by the few. And so we would say that war not only provides the economic shortages by using this money, this $400 billion annually, to build, a drone, but it also keeps people mentally in a state of survival, fear, and blind patriotism, according to the book. And people need to be in this state of mind, fear, hatred, adulation, and triumph, because that makes them even more supple and easier to control, according to the book. The object of war is not to make or prevent conquest of territory, but to keep the structure of society intact. So that's the true meaning of war is peace. War is peace in so much as it creates stability for the hierarchy. Okay, as long as these people aren't rocking the boat down here, then everyone up here can stay exactly where they are, right? And we keep everyone in a state of, survival and frenzy and fear in order to create peace up top. So this is how that paradox actually plays out in the world of 1984.